Choice 1. Would you rather know how you die or when you die? To know the method of your death would colour every moment of life. If you were told it would be an accident, every road, every step, every moment of chance would feel dangerous. If illness awaited, you might search your body endlessly for signs, never at peace. Yet if you were told the exact time, the countdown would tick louder than any clock, shaping how you spend every day. Would you savour each second more deeply, or would dread overshadow the joy? Perhaps living without knowing is the only way to be free, but still the mind returns to wonder. Which truth would you choose to carry, the way it ends, or the moment it arrives? Choice 2. Would you rather live 1 extra year in perfect happiness or 10 more years of ordinary life? A single year filled with pure joy, where every day is radiant, might outweigh an entire decade of routine. Imagine a year where you never feel loneliness, doubt, or pain, only the fullness of love, laughter, and peace. Yet 10 years, though ordinary, offer chances for surprise, for growth, for quiet joys you might not recognize until they're gone. Which matters more, the brilliance of a short burning flame or the gentle glow of a long candle? One choice offers intensity, the other longevity. The question whispers at the edge of life's mystery. Is it better to live brightly for a moment or steadily for many? Choice 3. Would you rather die in peace today or live forever in loneliness? Peace today means no more pain, no more questions, only stillness. But eternity stretches long, and living forever without companionship may feel heavier than any burden. Imagine centuries passing with no one to laugh with, no one to hold, only silence as your closest companion. Is survival enough without connection, or is connection the true meaning of living? Death ends everything, but loneliness can feel like a death that never ends. Which fate feels gentler, the brevity of peace, or the vastness of eternity alone? Choice 4. Would you rather sacrifice yourself to save 1 loved one, or 100 strangers? The heart leaps to protect the one you love. Their face, their voice, their presence, too precious to lose. Yet the mind calculates the lives of the many, the weight of 100 souls who might go on to touch countless others. Love and logic pull in opposite directions, each path lined with regret. To choose love is to embrace selfishness. To choose strangers is to deny your own heart. Which sacrifice feels heavier, the loss of yourself for one, or the loss of one for many? Choice 5. Would you rather live forever but watch everyone you love fade, or live a short life surrounded by them? Immortality stretches endlessly. But what is eternity without those you love? To watch every face you care for vanish into memory, one after another, is a grief without end. Yet a short life, though brief, would be filled with warmth, laughter, and love. Would you accept endless time filled with emptiness, or a fleeting time filled with meaning? Perhaps the true measure of life is not how long it lasts, but who walks beside us while it does. Choice 6. Would you rather die suddenly without warning, or know the exact moment years in advance? A sudden end spares you the weight of anticipation, but leaves behind words unsaid, goodbyes unspoken. Knowing the exact moment allows you to prepare, to live with intention, but each day becomes a countdown, every joy shadowed by the end. Would certainty give you strength or rob you of peace? Sometimes not knowing is a gift, a veil that allows life to be lived freely. Which burden would you carry, ignorance or inevitability? Choice 7. Would you rather erase death from the world, but end all births, or allow life and death to continue as they are? A world without death would mean no loss, no grief, but no new souls, no fresh laughter, no future generations. It would be a still picture of life, never changing, never renewing. To allow birth is to accept that with every beginning comes an ending, with every arrival comes a farewell. Which world feels more bearable, endless presence without renewal, or endless cycles of joy and loss. Perhaps one cannot exist without the other, and balance is the hidden truth. Choice 8. Would you rather live to 100 in constant mild pain, or die at 50 in perfect health? To endure pain each day for the chance of longer years is a heavy choice. 100 years with discomfort might still hold moments of beauty, laughter, and discovery. Yet 50 years in full health would mean freedom of body, every day vibrant and unburdened, though fewer in number. Which matters more, the quality of days or their quantity? Is a long life worth living if it is shadowed by suffering, or is a short bright flame the greater gift? Choice 9. Would you rather die with your secrets, or confess them all on your last day? Secrets are heavy, but sometimes they protect, they shield, they preserve peace. To carry them to your grave means silence, but also mystery left behind. To confess them all would lighten your heart, but the truth may wound others, may change how you are remembered. Which is the kinder act, silence that protects or honesty that reveals? Perhaps both are burdens, one carried in life, the other passed on in death. Choice 10. Would you rather die for your beliefs or live betraying them? To die for what you believe in is to leave a legacy of conviction even if your life is cut short. To live in betrayal may grant survival, but at the cost of your soul, every day a reminder of compromise. Which is the greater loss? The end of your life or the end of your integrity? Perhaps beliefs define us more than breath, and to lose them is a kind of death already. Choice 11. Would you rather live one day as a god or 1,000 years as a nobody? A single day with power beyond imagination, where the world bends to your will, may feel brighter than centuries of quiet existence. Yet 1,000 years, though unnoticed, might hold countless sunsets, friendships, and moments of quiet joy. Is it better to blaze brilliantly for a moment, or drift quietly through the ages unseen? Which life carries more meaning, greatness for a day, or ordinariness forever? Choice 12. Would you rather live in a world without death, or a world without birth? Without death, life stretches endlessly, but it stagnates. The old never leave, the new never arrive. Without birth, the world grows quieter, older, until only memories remain. Which vision feels more desolate, eternal presence or eternal silence? Perhaps the cycle of birth and death is what makes life precious at all. Choice 13. Would you rather die knowing you accomplished nothing, or live knowing your actions harmed others? A life without achievement may feel empty, but it leaves no scars. A life filled with harm leaves a shadow that lingers in others long after you're gone. Which burden is heavier, the emptiness of insignificance or the pain of guilt? Perhaps both remind us that meaning is fragile and responsibility is weighty. Choice 14. Would you rather trade places with someone on their deathbed or walk away knowing you could save them? To give your life for another is an act of profound love, a sacrifice few could bear. To walk away is to preserve yourself, but the knowledge of what you could have done may haunt you forever. Which is harder to live with? A shorter life given freely, or a longer one shadowed by regret? Choice 15. Would you rather live a long forgotten life, or a short remembered one? A forgotten life may still be rich with moments only you experience, laughter, love, and quiet peace. A remembered life may echo in history, inspiring others, even if it was brief. Which is more valuable, being remembered by the world or simply living for yourself? Perhaps remembrance is fleeting too, and what matters most is the life you truly lived, not the one others recall. Choice 16. Would you rather lose all your past memories or never be able to form new ones? To lose the past is to erase the foundation of who you are. Every friendship, every lesson, every moment of joy or pain, gone in an instant, leaving you to begin again as if life had just started. Yet to lose the ability to create new memories is to live frozen, repeating the same day endlessly, meeting the same faces without recognition, never building new chapters. Which would hurt more, the absence of a past or the absence of a future? Perhaps memory itself is what gives shape to identity, and without it, we become strangers to ourselves. Choice 17. Would you rather forget every happy memory or relive your worst day forever? Happiness once lost leaves a hollow space where laughter becomes a mystery you can't recall. To give up joy is to surrender the brightness that makes life worth living. Yet to relive your worst day forever means to be trapped in a cycle of pain, unable to move forward, unable to escape. Which is heavier to carry, the emptiness of joy erased or the endless return of suffering? Perhaps both remind us that memory is both a gift and a curse, shaping how we see ourselves and the world. Choice 18. Would you rather be remembered by history as evil or forgotten completely? To be remembered as evil is to live in infamy, your name spoken for generations but with contempt. To be forgotten entirely is to vanish, as though you never walked the earth, your story erased before it could be told. One path gives you presence without honor, the other silence without shame. Which is worse, being known for the wrong reasons or not being known at all? Perhaps obscurity is its own kind of peace, but still the question lingers. Does remembrance matter if it brings only condemnation? Choice 19. Would you rather live someone else's life for a year or let someone live yours forever? To step into another's world for a year is to borrow their joys and struggles, to see through their eyes. Yet when the year ends, you return to your own path, forever changed by what you experienced. But to let someone live your life forever means giving up your choices, your voice, your very identity, while you fade into silence. Which loss is greater, a single year of disconnection or the entirety of who you are? Perhaps the question reveals how deeply we cling to selfhood, even as we wonder what it would be like to escape it. Choice 20. Would you rather wake up each day as a different person or remain yourself but never change? To live as someone new each day is to never settle, to experience endless variety but never continuity. Every morning would bring a new story, but you would never truly be at home in any of them. To remain yourself without change is stability, but also stagnation, a life without growth or transformation. Which life would feel more like a prison, the chaos of endless change, or the weight of unchanging sameness? Perhaps identity thrives somewhere in between, enough change to grow, but enough constancy to know who you are. Choice 21. Would you rather erase one memory forever or relive it every day? There are moments so painful we wish they would vanish, never to return. To erase one memory would bring relief, but it might also erase the lessons hidden within it. Reliving it every day would etch it deeper into your soul, shaping who you are through constant repetition, but at the cost of freedom from the past. Which is more bearable, forgetting at the risk of losing part of yourself, or remembering until it consumes you? Perhaps memory's power lies not in erasure or repetition, but in how we carry it forward. Choice 22. Would you rather remember everything perfectly or remember nothing at all? Perfect memory offers clarity, every detail sharp, every face familiar, every word preserved, yet it also means never escaping pain, never dulling grief, never allowing wounds to fade. To remember nothing is freedom from burden, but also emptiness, a life without context or meaning. Which feels more like a gift, and which more like a curse? Perhaps memory's imperfections are what protect us, softening life so we can endure. Choice 23. Would you rather know exactly who you are, but be unhappy, or live blissfully unaware of yourself? To know yourself completely is to face truths you may not like, flaws, weaknesses, and shadows that cannot be hidden. Such knowledge can bring clarity, but it may also bring sorrow. To live unaware is to drift through life in ignorance, light-hearted but ungrounded, never truly understanding your place in the world. Which path offers more peace, painful truth, or blissful illusion? Perhaps happiness and self-knowledge are rarely found together, and the choice between them defines the kind of life you live. Choice 24. Would you rather be known by everyone but misunderstood, or unknown but deeply understood by one person? Fame without understanding is a hollow echo, your name carried far but never truly seen for who you are. To be unknown to the world, yet understood completely by one's soul, is intimacy in its purest form, which would satisfy the heart more, countless eyes that misjudge, or one gaze that sees you fully. Perhaps true connection outweighs recognition, but the desire for both still tugs at the soul. Choice 25. Would you rather swap all your memories with a stranger's, or erase them entirely? To carry a stranger's past is to live with ghosts you do not know, to feel emotions without context, to carry stories that never belong to you. To erase them entirely is to start fresh, but also to lose the very threads that make you who you are. Which is more unsettling, being defined by another's memories or by none at all? Perhaps identity is fragile enough that either path would leave you wondering who you really are. Choice 26. Would you rather live with false but happy memories, or true but painful ones? False happiness creates comfort, even if it rests on lies. Every smile, every moment of joy would feel real, even if it never happened. True but painful memories weigh heavily, but they anchor you in reality, grounding your life in truth, however difficult, which is kinder to the soul, blissful illusion or harsh reality. Perhaps truth gives depth, but illusion gives peace, and the choice reveals which you value more. Choice 27. Would you rather never recognize faces again, or never recognize places again? To lose faces means every loved one becomes a stranger, every encounter uncertain, every reunion hollow. To lose places means wandering without anchor, unable to feel at home, lost in endless unfamiliarity. Which disconnection feels more unbearable, from the people around you or the world itself? Perhaps both remind us that recognition is the root of belonging, and without it, we are lost. Choice 28. Would you rather lose the ability to speak or the ability to remember? To lose speech is to lose connection with others, to live in silence even among the crowd. Yet memory is the anchor of identity, the thread that ties past to present. Without it, words may flow, but they float unmoored, without meaning. Which loss is heavier, the silence of voice or the silence of self? Perhaps both reveal how deeply language and memory weave the tapestry of being. Choice 29. Would you rather relive your life exactly as it was, or start over with no memories of it? To relive life is to repeat every joy, every sorrow, every mistake, unable to change, only to experience again. To start over with no memories is freedom, but also blindness, a chance to build anew without knowing where you came from. Which is more appealing, the certainty of repetition or the uncertainty of a blank slate? Perhaps we only long for new beginnings when the weight of the past feels too heavy to carry. Choice 30. Would you rather keep your identity but live anonymously, or be famous with no sense of self? To keep your identity is to know who you are, even if the world never notices you. To lose yourself in fame is to be celebrated, yet hollow inside, your name echoing louder than your truth. Which matters more, recognition from the world or recognition from yourself? Perhaps one without the other is incomplete, but forced to choose, the answer reveals where you place your worth. Choice 31. Always tell the truth, even if it hurts, or always lie to protect feelings. The truth can cut deep, leaving wounds that never fully heal. Yet lies, though comforting in the moment, build fragile foundations that eventually collapse. If you could only do one, speak truth without filter, or soften reality with lies, which would leave the world kinder and which would leave it stronger? Perhaps both paths harm in different ways, for honesty without compassion is cruelty, while lies without end are betrayal. The balance is delicate, and the question asks, what is more important, truth or peace? Choice 32. Break the law for justice, or obey the law and cause harm. Laws are meant to hold society together, to guide behavior and maintain order. But sometimes laws are flawed, unjust, or blind to suffering. Would you be willing to break the rules to do what you feel is right, or would you obey them even when obedience means harm? To disobey is to risk chaos, yet to obey is to accept injustice. Which path would weigh heavier on your conscience, loyalty to the system or loyalty to your heart? Choice 33. Save one child or 1,000 strangers? The life of a child is pure, filled with potential and innocence. Saving them means giving them a chance at everything yet to come. But 1,000 strangers represent countless families, countless futures, far beyond the life of one. Which is greater, the bond you feel toward one small soul, or the sheer weight of many? Love and reason pull in different directions, and perhaps there is no right answer, only the one you could live with. Choice 34. Commit a crime no one knows about, or be accused of one you didn't commit. A crime committed in secret may haunt you in silence, known only to yourself. But being falsely accused means your name, your life, your reputation shattered by something you never did. Which prison feels heavier? The one inside your mind, or the one imposed by others? Perhaps guilt in silence is still punishment, and perhaps false blame leaves scars even deeper than guilt. Choice 35. Betray a friend to save yourself, or sacrifice yourself to protect them. Friendship binds us with trust, with loyalty stronger than circumstance. To betray that trust may secure your survival, but the weight of disloyalty would never leave you. To sacrifice yourself for another is noble, but it ends your own story too soon. Which choice is more unbearable, living with betrayal or not living at all? Perhaps true loyalty is measured in what you are willing to give up when it matters most. Choice 36. Be feared for power or loved for weakness. Fear grants control, bending others to your will, but at a distance, with no warmth. Love welcomes closeness, but sometimes it reveals vulnerability, leaving you open to harm. Would you rather be untouchable but alone, or embraced but fragile? Perhaps both fear and love hold power, but in very different currencies. One demands, the other gives. The question whispers, is safety worth the cost of affection? Choice 37. Do the right thing and lose everything, or do the wrong thing and gain it all. Integrity may strip you of wealth, of comfort, of recognition, but it leaves you with peace of mind. Wrongdoing may hand you riches, power, and success, but it comes at the price of your conscience. Which treasure weighs more heavily? Material gain or inner peace? Perhaps loss in truth is not loss at all, and gain in lies is not gain at all. Choice 38. Be known for one unforgivable act, or be forgotten for countless good deeds. Reputation is fragile. One mistake can eclipse a lifetime of goodness. To be remembered for the worst thing you ever did is a burden heavier than most could carry. Yet to be forgotten entirely, even after doing good, is to vanish without echo. Which is worse, to be remembered in shame, or to not be remembered at all? Perhaps legacy is never truly in our control, and the worth of good deeds lies in the doing, not the remembering. Choice 39. Forgive someone unforgivable, or never forgive and live in anger. Forgiveness feels impossible when the wound runs deep, when betrayal cuts to the bone. To forgive is to release the hold of bitterness, but it may also feel like surrendering justice. To withhold forgiveness is to hold tight to anger, yet anger consumes, burning away peace from within. Which is the greater prison, the chains of forgiveness or the chains of rage? Perhaps forgiveness is not about the other at all, but about freeing yourself. Choice 40. Take the blame for a crime to protect someone or expose them and destroy their life. To carry blame is to sacrifice your reputation, your freedom, your truth. But to expose another is to shatter their existence, even if it saves your own. Which life would you choose to protect, yours or theirs? Perhaps love is measured not in words, but in the burdens we're willing to bear for another. Choice 41. Harm one person to save many, or harm no one and watch many suffer. The dilemma is as old as time. Is one life worth more than many? To sacrifice one is to stain your hands forever, but to refuse is to let countless others suffer. Which would weigh heavier, the direct burden of causing pain or the passive guilt of letting it spread? Perhaps morality is not found in numbers, but in the heart's ability to live with the choice. Choice 42. Let a lie heal or let the truth destroy. Lies can soothe, preserving fragile peace even when they are hollow. Truth cuts sharp, sometimes breaking relationships, hopes and dreams. Would you rather let the illusion stand or reveal what cannot be unseen? Perhaps truth and lies are both weapons, one soft, one sharp, and the question asks which wound you prefer to inflict. Choice 43. Live by society's rules or create your own morality alone. Society's rules bring order, shared values, and protection, but they may also suppress freedom and individuality. To live by your own rules is freedom, but it may bring isolation, even rejection. Which is more important, belonging to the group or belonging to yourself? Perhaps the tension between conformity and individuality is what makes us human. Choice 44. Save a stranger over a loved one, or a loved one over a stranger. The heart clings to the familiar, to the one whose laughter and presence you know deeply. Yet the stranger represents another family, another world, another story, just as meaningful to someone else. Would you choose the life that matters most to you, or the life that matters most in numbers? Perhaps no heart can be purely logical when love is at stake. Choice 45. Sacrifice happiness for virtue or virtue for happiness. To hold on to virtue may mean walking through life without comfort, without joy, but with integrity intact. To choose happiness over virtue may bring pleasure, but at the cost of betraying your values. Which is more vital to the soul? Joy without honour or honour without joy? Perhaps both are pieces of a whole life, but forced to choose, one must reveal which you prize more. Time and reality, 46 to 50. Choice 46. Travel 100 years into the past or 100 years into the future. The past offers answers, a chance to witness history, to see where we came from, to understand the roots of our existence. The future offers possibilities, a glimpse at what humanity becomes, what survives, and what is lost. Would you rather know where we began or where we are going? Perhaps both directions hold wisdom, but each reveals a different truth, one about origin, the other about destiny. Choice 47. Relive one day forever, or never relive a single moment. To relive one day forever means perfection or torment, depending on the day. A day of happiness could become paradise, but repetition may soon turn it into prison. To never relive any moment means always moving forward, but it also means losing the comfort of treasured memories. Which feels more precious, a single day repeated endlessly, or a lifetime of fleeting moments never to return? Choice 48. Control time for 1 hour a day or live one extra lifetime. 1 hour of control grants power, to pause, to rewind, to shape the world around you in ways no one else could. But a whole extra lifetime gives you decades more to experience, to learn, to love, without shortcuts. Which gift would feel greater, power in small doses or time in abundance? Perhaps both remind us how fragile and fleeting life already is. Choice 49. Know the entire future or forget the entire past. The past gives identity, but sometimes it chains us to regret. The future offers certainty, but sometimes too much knowledge robs life of mystery. Would you rather carry the burden of knowing what's to come, or surrender the story of where you've been? Perhaps life's meaning lies in the not knowing, in the space between past and future, where we truly live. Choice 50. Live in a dream you can control, or a reality you cannot. Dreams bend to your will, beauty, adventure, and love shaped exactly as you wish. But dreams fade, and reality, though uncontrollable, has a weight that dreams never do. Which matters more, the joy of control, even if false, or the depth of truth, even if harsh? Perhaps the line between dream and reality is thinner than we think, and meaning is found in both. Choice 51. Pause time for yourself or for everyone else. To pause time for yourself is to step outside the river of life, to savor each moment while the world holds still. Every breath, every thought, every heartbeat could last as long as you desire. But to pause time for everyone else is to hold the world captive while you alone move freely, burdened by choices no one else remembers. Which power would feel more like a gift, and which like a curse? Perhaps both remind us that time is only precious when it cannot be stopped. Choice 52. Be stuck in yesterday or trapped in tomorrow. Yesterday holds comfort, memories, familiar faces, and the safety of what you already know. But to be stuck there means never moving forward, never growing, never reaching for more. Tomorrow holds potential, the unknown shimmering with possibility, but to be trapped there means never arriving, never grounding yourself in the present. Which is more unbearable? Repeating the past endlessly, or waiting forever for a future that never arrives? Perhaps the present moment is the only freedom we truly have. Choice 53. Time moved twice as fast or half as slow. If time moved twice as fast, your life would blur, years passing like months, decades slipping away before you can hold them. Yet if time moved half as slow, the wait for everything would stretch unbearably. Patience tested in ways you can't imagine. Which is more difficult, watching life rush by too quickly or dragging endlessly in slow motion? Perhaps time feels fragile only because it moves exactly as it does now. Choice 54. Live one moment of pure perfection or a lifetime of average days. One perfect moment could outweigh 1,000 ordinary ones, a single heartbeat of complete love, peace, or joy. But perfection is fleeting, and once it passes, everything else may feel empty. A lifetime of average days offers steadiness, small joys, and stability, but never the brilliance of perfection. Which would matter more, one unforgettable instant or 1,000 forgettable years? Perhaps perfection only matters because it contrasts with the ordinary. Choice 55. Rewind 5 minutes every day or skip forward 5 years once. 5 minutes each day could undo mistakes, soften regrets, and shape your days with precision. Yet it would only touch the small moments, never the larger arc of life. To skip forward 5 years once is to leap ahead, bypassing both pain and joy, unsure of what you will miss. Which is more valuable? Control over the little things, or one chance to leap past the unknown? Perhaps every moment matters more than we realize, for even 5 minutes can change a life. Choice 56. See every possible future or only one. Every possible future is an overwhelming flood of choices and paths, so many that decision itself might become impossible. But to see only one is certainty, and certainty can be both comfort and prison. Would you rather drown in possibility or surrender to inevitability? Perhaps the beauty of the future lies in not knowing at all, in trusting the unfolding mystery. Choice 57. Live forever in virtual reality or briefly in the real one. A virtual world could be flawless, perfect beauty, endless adventure, crafted entirely to your desires. Yet beneath the illusion, nothing is real, no memory lasting beyond the code. A short life in the real world, though imperfect, carries weight, depth, and truth. Which feels more meaningful, eternity in a dream or brevity in reality? Perhaps truth, however fragile, matters more than perfection. Choice 58. Control your dreams or your waking reality. Dreams are limitless, unbound by physics or fear, offering freedom and wonder each night. Yet reality is where your choices truly matter, where consequences ripple into the world around you. Would you rather shape your nights or your days? Perhaps dreams soothe the heart, but reality shapes the soul, and the power to control either reveals what you value most. Choice 59. Meet your younger self or your older self. To meet your younger self is to offer guidance, to soothe mistakes, to give comfort to the child you once were. To meet your older self is to glimpse destiny, to hear wisdom from the path you haven't walked yet. Which would you choose? To heal the past or to prepare for the future? Perhaps both versions live within you already, and the true meeting place is here in the present. Choice 60. Time stop completely or never stop moving. If time stopped, the world would become silent, frozen forever in a single moment. Peace, perhaps, but also stagnation. If time never stopped, life would rush on endlessly, with no pause, no rest, no chance to hold on to what you love. Which is more unbearable? Stillness without change, or motion without pause? Perhaps the gift of time lies in its rhythm, the way it carries us forward while still allowing us to linger. Relationships and emotions, 61 to 70. Choice 61. Be loved but never respected, or respected but never loved. Love without respect is warmth without foundation, affection that may not last. Respect without love is acknowledgement without intimacy, recognition without comfort. Which would you choose? The embrace of love that may feel shallow, or the distance of respect that may feel cold? Perhaps the human heart longs for both, and the absence of one always leaves a void. Choice 62. Lose your family or your friends. Family ties are deep, built into the roots of who you are. Friends, however, are chosen, companions of the soul who shape who you become. To lose family is to sever blood, to lose the people who have known you since the beginning. To lose friends is to cut away those who know the person you have grown into. Which loss would leave you emptier? Perhaps both remind us that connection, chosen or given, is the essence of life. Choice 63. Love someone who never loves you, or be loved by someone you never love. Unrequited love is an ache that lingers, a longing never answered. To give love without return can feel like pouring yourself into emptiness, but to be loved without loving back is to carry guilt, to see devotion in their eyes, but never reflect it. Which pain is heavier, the loneliness of being unseen, or the burden of not returning what is given? Perhaps love's greatest weight is not in the joy it brings, but in the imbalance it creates. Choice 64. Never feel happiness again, or never feel sadness again. Without happiness, life becomes dull, grey, stripped of light. Without sadness, life becomes shallow, for sorrow gives depth to joy, shaping the meaning of happiness itself. Which would you surrender, the peaks or the valleys? Perhaps both are needed, for only by knowing one can we truly understand the other. Choice 65. Break someone's heart, or have yours broken forever. To break a heart is to wound someone deeply, to leave scars that may last a lifetime. To have your own heart broken is to carry pain, but it is pain you own, not pain you inflicted. Which burden would you rather carry, the guilt of harm or the weight of loss? Perhaps the hardest truth of love is that both are inevitable at some point, and both shape who we are. Choice 66. Live without trust or live without forgiveness. Without trust, Every relationship is fragile, every word doubted, every smile questioned. Without forgiveness, every wound festers, every mistake lingers, every bond eventually breaks. Which world would you rather live in, one of suspicion or one of resentment? Perhaps the soul cannot survive without both, and to lose either is to live half a life. Choice 67. Be alone forever, or surrounded by false friends. Loneliness is heavy, but it is honest. False friendship fills the air with laughter that rings hollow, companionship that hides emptiness. Which is worse, silence without company or noise without meaning? Perhaps solitude, though painful, is purer than the mask of false connection. Choice 68. Never fall in love or fall in love and lose them. To never love is to miss the heights of joy, but also the depths of heartbreak. To love and lose is to know both ecstasy and despair, a wound carved by beauty itself. Which would you prefer, safety without love or risk with heartbreak? Perhaps love, even when lost, leaves an imprint that lasts forever. Choice 69. Marry someone you don't love or stay alone forever. A marriage without love is companionship in form, but emptiness in heart. Loneliness without marriage is emptiness in form, but authenticity in truth. Which emptiness would you choose, the loneliness of solitude or the loneliness of sharing life without love? Perhaps the human heart longs for love above all, even if it means enduring the pain of its absence. Choice 70. Never feel anger or never feel joy. Anger can be destructive, but it is also protective, a fire that defends and empowers. Joy is the light that makes life worth enduring, the spark that carries us forward. Without anger, would you be defenseless, too vulnerable to harm? Without joy, would you be hollow, existing without brightness? Which absence is heavier, a world without fire or a world without light? Choice 71. Save your child over your partner or your partner over your child. This is a choice no one wants to face, yet it lingers at the edge of imagination. A child carries innocence and a future untold, every moment ahead of them unwritten, filled with possibility. A partner carries years of history, shared laughter, shared struggles, a bond built over time that no one else could replicate. Saving one means carrying the loss of the other, a grief so deep it may never leave. Which loss would be more unbearable, the silence of a child's absence or the emptiness of losing the person you built your life with? Perhaps both choices break the heart in ways words cannot mend, and yet life sometimes demands answers where no answer feels right. Choice 72. Always love too much or never enough. To love too much is to risk smothering, to give endlessly even when it hurts, to open yourself so wide that rejection cuts deeper than most could endure. To never love enough is to leave others wanting, to hold back affection, to never let them fully know how much they mean to you. Which pain is heavier, loving so fiercely that it consumes you, or never loving enough to satisfy those who need you? Perhaps love, in any measure, comes with its shadows, but it is the giving that defines the soul, not the balance. Choice 73. Feel everything too deeply or nothing at all. To feel deeply is to live on the edge of every emotion, joy that lifts you beyond words, sorrow that drowns you, anger that burns, and love that transforms. Every moment becomes intense, overwhelming, impossible to escape. Yet to feel nothing is to drift through life untouched, a shell that goes through the motions without ever being moved. Which would you choose, a life of storms and brilliance, or a calm sea without waves? Perhaps the gift of emotion is not in its comfort, but in its depth, reminding us that to feel is to truly exist. Choice 74. Live in unrequited love or a loveless marriage. Unrequited love is longing that never fades, a flame that burns but never warms you. A loveless marriage is a daily companionship without connection, two lives moving side by side but never touching at the heart. Which would feel heavier, the ache of hope never fulfilled, or the emptiness of promises kept without passion? Perhaps both remind us that love's absence leaves a wound, no matter the form it takes. Choice 75. Forget everyone you love, or everyone forget you. If you forget those you love, their faces become strangers, their voices meaningless echoes. You might walk past them without knowing the history you share. If they forget you, your love becomes invisible, your presence erased from their hearts. Which loss cuts deeper, losing your memories of love or being erased from the memories of those you hold dear? Perhaps love itself only lives when it is shared, and in either choice it slips quietly away. Power and knowledge, 76 to 85. Choice 76. Know every truth but never speak, or live in ignorance but be heard. Truth carries weight. It can liberate, but it can also crush. To know every truth and never speak it is to carry the burden of knowledge alone, to see clearly while the world moves blindly. To live in ignorance but be heard is to be followed, celebrated, and listened to, even though your words carry no real substance. Which is the heavier burden, silence with truth, or noise with emptiness? Perhaps wisdom is not just in knowing, but in sharing, and without a voice, truth becomes a prison. Choice 77. Have power without wisdom, or wisdom without power. Power without wisdom is dangerous, decisions made without foresight that ripple into harm. Wisdom without power is frustrating, seeing the path clearly but being unable to change it. Which would torment you more, the destruction caused by your blind choices, or the helplessness of knowing better but being ignored? Perhaps both remind us that wisdom and power are incomplete without each other, and together they shape destiny. Choice 78. Know the meaning of life, or live life without needing to know. To know the meaning of life is to hold the answer that philosophers, poets, and dreamers have sought for centuries. It may bring clarity, but it may also bring disappointment if the truth is smaller than the mystery. To live without needing to know is freedom, to dance through existence without questioning why. Which life would you choose, certainty with possible despair, or mystery with joy? Perhaps the beauty of life lies not in the answer, but in the search. Choice 79. Control people's minds, or control their hearts. To control the mind is to command thought, to shape logic and decisions at will. To control the heart is to sway emotions, to inspire loyalty, love, or devotion. Which power is greater, the cold precision of intellect or the fiery pull of feeling? Perhaps both reveal how fragile we are, shaped by thought and passion alike. But to hold either power is to shoulder immense responsibility, for in bending others, you risk breaking them. Break. Choice 80. Have infinite money or infinite knowledge. Money buys comfort, power, influence, doors that open in a world built on wealth. Knowledge unlocks understanding, mastery, and the ability to create what money cannot. Which treasure would you carry, the wealth that can be spent, or the wisdom that can be shared? Perhaps one fades with time, while the other grows stronger the more it is used. Yet even knowledge cannot buy love, and even money cannot purchase meaning. Break. Choice 81. See the truth in everyone, or hide the truth about yourself. To see the truth in everyone is to strip away masks, to witness their fears, lies, and desires laid bare. It may bring clarity, but it may also bring disillusionment, for few can withstand being seen fully. To hide the truth about yourself is to remain protected, shielded from judgment, yet forever unseen for who you truly are. Which matters more, understanding others completely or remaining hidden yourself? Perhaps truth is a mirror, and in seeking it, we may not always like what we find. Choice 82. Invent something that destroys or nothing at all. To invent is to create, to bring something new into the world. But invention that destroys means blood on your hands, suffering born of your brilliance. To invent nothing at all is to remain safe, but also to leave no legacy, no contribution to the story of humanity. Which is worse, to harm through creation or to never create at all. Perhaps creation itself is never neutral, and the risk of harm is always hidden within it. Choice 83. Discover the secret of the universe or never search for it. To discover the secret is to unveil the mystery, to hold the key to everything. But what if the answer is small, unsatisfying, or unbearable? To never search is to remain in wonder, to live in mystery, free of disappointment. Which would you prefer, the burden of knowing or the bliss of not knowing? Perhaps wonder itself is the secret, that we are meant to live in awe, not in certainty. Choice 84. Hold the cure for all diseases but never share it or never discover it at all. To hold the cure is to know you could save millions, yet be unable or unwilling to share it. The guilt would weigh like lead, your knowledge a curse. To never discover it is to live without the burden, but also without the power to change suffering. Which torment is greater? Knowing you could save lives but choosing not to, or never having the chance at all? Perhaps responsibility is the heaviest burden of all. Choice 85. Be remembered for wisdom no one followed, or ignorance everyone admired. Wisdom ignored is lonely, your insight clear, but the world blind to its value. Ignorance admired is hollow, praised for nothing, celebrated for emptiness. Which would you choose, to be right and unheard, or wrong and loved? Perhaps the deeper question is whether you value truth above recognition, or recognition above truth. Freedom and control, 86 to 90. Choice 86. Live without freedom or without safety. Safety offers comfort, predictability, and protection, but at the cost of choice. Freedom offers possibility, exploration, and power, but at the risk of chaos and danger. Which would you choose, to live secure but bound, or free but vulnerable? Perhaps safety without freedom is a cage, and freedom without safety is a storm, and yet both are necessary for life to flourish. Choice 87. Be controlled by others or control everyone else. To be controlled is to lose agency, to live as a puppet, dancing to strings not your own. Every step, every choice dictated by someone else. To control everyone else is to carry power, but also loneliness, for no bond is real when every action is your design. Which is worse, to have no freedom, or to live surrounded by shadows of your own making. Perhaps both reveal how fragile true connection really is. Choice 88. Give up free will for peace, or keep it and live in chaos. Peace without choice is tranquility at the cost of autonomy, a world without suffering, but also without decision. Chaos with freedom is messy, painful, unpredictable, but it belongs to you. Which would you choose? Order without self, or disorder with soul? Perhaps the struggle of free will is what makes life meaningful at all. Choice 89. Be a prisoner forever, or free but hunted forever. Prison offers certainty, walls that confine but protect, a routine without escape. Freedom while hunted is exhilarating, but every step carries danger, every shadow holds fear. Which is heavier, the weight of bars or the weight of fear? Perhaps both are prisons, one visible, one invisible. Choice 90. Be bound by destiny or lost in randomness. Destiny offers a path, set and inevitable, robbing you of choice but giving you meaning. Randomness offers freedom, but with no pattern, no guidance, no assurance of purpose. Which is harder to live with, the chains of fate or the emptiness of chaos? Perhaps life is both, a dance of destiny and randomness interwoven. Choice 91. Obey every rule or break every rule. Rules give structure, boundaries, and order to life. They tell us what is safe, what is expected, and what is allowed. To obey every rule would mean surrendering freedom, never questioning, never straying, even when the rules themselves are flawed. Your life would be predictable, but also suffocating, shaped by others, not by you. To break every rule is to reject all boundaries, to live in chaos where nothing restrains you. At first, it might feel liberating, a rush of power in defiance. But in time, the absence of order becomes its own prison, for chaos has no stability. Which is more bearable? The weight of endless obedience or the burden of total defiance? Perhaps both extremes reveal that balance is what gives freedom its true meaning. Choice 92. Have the power to decide everything or nothing at all. To decide everything is to carry the world on your shoulders. Every outcome, every choice, every fate resting on you alone. The power would be immense, but so would the pressure. For even the smallest decision would ripple outward, shaping countless lives. Could you bear the guilt of being wrong, knowing every mistake was your own? To decide nothing is to surrender entirely, to let others shape your path, your destiny, your very existence. No burden, but no control, a life of drifting without voice. Which prison would feel heavier, the weight of absolute power or the emptiness of none? Perhaps true choice is found not in extremes, but in the delicate dance between them. Choice 93. Be free in solitude or trapped with company. Solitude grants freedom, every choice your own, every step unbound, every thought uninterrupted. But freedom without company can grow cold, for even the freest life may ache without companionship. To be trapped with company means the opposite, constant presence, never alone, but never truly free. Would you rather live alone with endless space, or together with no space at all? Which is worse, the silence of freedom, or the noise of captivity? Perhaps this question whispers that true freedom is not just the absence of walls, but the presence of someone who makes the walls bearable. Choice 94. Live by your choices, but fail, or succeed only by others' choices. Failure can sting, but when it is born from your own choices, it carries dignity. You know the path was yours, even if it ended in loss. Success born from others' choices may look golden, admired by all, yet hollow inside, for you never truly steered the course. Would you rather hold failure with authenticity or success with emptiness? Perhaps the true measure of life is not in the outcome, but in the ownership, in being able to say, I chose this path, even if it broke me. Choice 95. Control one moment perfectly, or live a lifetime without control. A single perfect moment under your control could change everything. Perhaps it is the moment you speak words that save a life, or the moment you choose a path that alters history. Yet beyond that one moment, the rest of your life would flow without your hand upon it, unpredictable, untamed. A lifetime without control means surrender, every joy and sorrow dictated by chance or others, which feels heavier, a single spark of power followed by surrender, or endless surrender without even a spark. Perhaps control is never about how much we have, but about what we do with the little we are given. Choice 96. Never dream again or live only in dreams. Dreams are the canvas of the mind, where imagination roams freely beyond the limits of reality. To never dream again would mean nights of emptiness, rest without wonder, mornings without mystery. But to live only in dreams is to leave reality behind, to drift forever in illusions that feel real but never are. Which world would you choose? A waking life without magic, or a dream life without truth? Perhaps both remind us that life is a blend of dream and waking, and losing either leaves us incomplete. Choice 97. Be invisible forever or visible only once a year. Invisibility offers freedom, anonymity, the power to move unseen. Yet it also brings loneliness, For if no one can see you, no one can truly know you. To be visible once a year means one day of recognition, of presence, of connection, followed by 364 days of absence. Would you rather live hidden forever or fleetingly known? Perhaps the question is not about being seen, but about what you do in the time you are. Choice 98. Live in a world with no colour or no sound. A silent world would be still, stripped of music, laughter and voices. Yet a colourless world would be muted, shadows without vibrancy, beauty dulled to grayscale. Which loss would weigh more, the absence of sound or the absence of light's spectrum? Perhaps both remind us how deeply our senses shape our experience and how fragile wonder is when one sense is missing. Choice 99. Exist only as a thought or only as a body. To exist only as a thought is to live in pure mind, ideas, imagination, intelligence, but without touch, without presence, without form. To exist only as a body is to move, breathe and act, but without thought, without awareness, without self, which feels more like life, the mind without matter, or matter without mind. Perhaps life itself is found in the union of both, and to choose one is to lose what makes us whole. Choice 100. Know every impossible choice's answer, or keep wondering forever. To know the answer is to end the struggle, to have certainty at last, to silence the questions that twist endlessly in the mind. Yet answers close doors. Once you know, the wonder is gone, the mystery dissolved. To keep wondering is to never resolve, but also to never lose the beauty of curiosity, the richness of pondering the unknown. Which would you prefer, the peace of certainty or the infinite horizon of mystery? Perhaps the journey of asking is the truest answer we will ever find. Break.